The murder of UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson sent shockwaves through the corporate world. It wasn't just the brutality of the crime, it was the sheer disbelief that a man like Luigi Mangione, who was practically invisible in the corporate world, could be behind it. But as the case unraveled, things took an even darker turn. The first hint that something was wrong came when Brian Thompson's body was discovered in his mansion, sprawled in a pool of blood, with no sign of forced entry. The police had no clear suspect. But then, Luigi Mangione's name was whispered among the elite circles. Mangione, a man whose background was as shady as it was obscure, had once been a small-time associate in Thompson's business dealings. However, their relationship had been rocky, with Mangione claiming that Thompson had betrayed him. Investigators quickly discovered a disturbing truth. Thompson had been involved in a series of financial dealings that were highly controversial. It seemed like the deeper they dug, the more they uncovered about a man who was hiding secrets. Luigi Mangione's name appeared in several documents that suggested he had access to critical information about Thompson's activities. But was this enough to label him as the murderer? Mangione was arrested after an anonymous tip led police to a strange confession, a cryptic message written in Thompson's office that seemed to point directly to Mangione's involvement. But as the case unfolded, strange details emerged about Thompson's life. His seemingly perfect business persona was nothing more than a facade. Behind closed doors, Thompson had been part of underground deals, using his position to manipulate people in terrifying ways. What investigators couldn't explain, however, were the moments that Mangione had been seen acting with an almost eerie calmness in the aftermath of the murder. Was this the behavior of a guilty man? Or was he being framed for something far worse? As the trial began, new revelations surfaced. Witnesses who had once been loyal to Thompson began to speak out, revealing that Thompson had made enemies far beyond the corporate world. There were whispers of mafia connections, dark deals, and shady financial networks. Could Mangione have been involved in something much larger than anyone had suspected? In the final moments of the trial, a shocking twist emerged. Mangione's defense claimed that he was merely a pawn in a much larger game, one that could have ties to the very foundations of the corporate world. The chilling truth about Brian Thompson's murder was still far from clear. With new evidence emerging daily, many began to question if Mangione was guilty at all. Was he a scapegoat in a much darker conspiracy, or was the real killer still out there, watching the trial unfold from the shadows? The Menendez brothers case had long been one of the most debated true crime stories in American history. But now, as new evidence and fresh perspectives emerge, the question still lingers. Were they the victims of a monstrous father, or were they cold-blooded killers who got away with murder? In 1996, Eric and Lyle Menendez were convicted of brutally murdering their wealthy parents, Jose and Kitty Menendez, in their Beverly Hills mansion. The crime was shockingly violent, with both parents shot at point-blank range. The brothers' story, that they had acted out of years of abuse at the hands of their father, became the central defense in the trial. Many believed their story of years of horrific sexual, physical, and emotional abuse, but as the trial unfolded, the story started to unravel. Some saw the Menendez brothers as victims who were finally fighting back against a tyrant. Others saw two young men who used their tragic story as an excuse to justify their actions and claim a multi-million-dollar inheritance. The brothers' calm demeanor after the murder raised red flags for many. They had been caught on surveillance video buying expensive items right after their parents were dead. The question: could they truly be victims of abuse, or were they simply criminals using an emotional excuse to escape justice? As the years passed, new information began to emerge. A previously unseen tape of Eric and Lyle's confession surfaced, giving new insights into the brothers' state of mind. The chilling detail in this tape, the cold way they described their actions, seemed to contradict their defense. Were they showing guilt or remorse? Even more unsettling was the possibility of new evidence that had been hidden from the public for years. Experts and journalists began questioning the fairness of their trial and the validity of the evidence used to convict them. Was it possible that the Menendez brothers were innocent, framed by the system, or had they committed a heinous crime? The renewed public interest sparked debates across the nation. Was justice truly served when the brothers were convicted, or had the legal system failed them, leading them to become scapegoats for a crime they didn't commit? With new evidence and experts revisiting the case, the question remains: could the Menendez brothers be innocent, or is the truth even darker than anyone ever imagined? Some places are haunted by the past in ways that go beyond the supernatural. The hotels across America where terrifying legends have been woven into the fabric of their very existence are places that refuse to let go. And when the clock strikes midnight, the spirits of the past are waiting to greet their next guests. One of the most famous haunted hotels in America is the Stanley Hotel in Estes Park, Colorado. Known for inspiring Stephen King's The Shining, this place has long been the subject of ghost stories and paranormal investigations. Visitors have reported hearing strange noises, footsteps echoing down empty hallways, and cold spots that seem to appear out of nowhere. But the scariest encounters are those with the hotel's long-dead staff, especially the ghost of its founder, F.O. Stanley, who is said to wander the halls at night, checking on the property he once loved. But the Stanley Hotel isn't the only place with a dark past. The Roosevelt Hotel in Hollywood, California, has its own haunted history. This luxurious hotel, which once housed Hollywood's brightest stars, is known for paranormal activity that has made even the most hardened skeptics question reality. Guests have reported seeing a woman in a long white gown pacing the halls, only to vanish before their eyes. Others have encountered the spirit of a man who was a longtime employee of the hotel, his life cut short under mysterious circumstances. In New Orleans, the Hotel Monteleone stands as a grand symbol of Southern hospitality. But behind its opulent walls, visitors have encountered ghostly children playing in the hallways and a mysterious woman seen in mirrors. Some say it's the spirit of a former guest who died tragically in the hotel. Whatever the case, the hotel's eerie history is enough to send chills down your spine. In each of these hotels, something or someone seems to be watching. Guests who stay in these historic, haunted locations never quite forget the experience, and many are left wondering if they'll be the next to encounter the spirits that lurk in the dark corners of these iconic hotels. As Halloween approaches, the number of ghost sightings at these hotels only increases. Is it the season, or is something more sinister at play? And who or what will be next to cross paths with the spirits of these haunted hotels?